The green liquid observed on the plug prongs of a sump pump's float switch is most likely due to corrosion. Several factors can contribute to this phenomenon. Firstly, water leakage could be the culprit. Water intrusion into the outlet or switch housing can initiate corrosion on the metal prongs. Examine the outlet and switch for any signs of cracks or leaks that may be allowing water to enter. Secondly, condensation can play a significant role. The warm, humid environment within the sump pump basin fosters condensation, which can then interact with the metal prongs and accelerate corrosion. Thirdly, electrolytic corrosion could be at play. If the sump pump lacks proper grounding, stray electrical currents may flow through the switch, leading to electrolysis. This process can deposit green corrosion products onto the prongs. Fourthly, consider the possibility of an antifreeze leak. If antifreeze was used in the sump pump system, it may have leaked onto the switch. Antifreeze contains ethylene glycol, a substance known to corrode metals. Fifthly, the green liquid might simply be a form of green rust, a corrosion product that develops on iron or steel components. Regarding safety precautions, unplug the sump pump from the power source before commencing any inspection or handling of the switch. Always wear gloves and eye protection to safeguard against potential hazards. To address the corrosion, clean the affected prongs using a wire brush or sandpaper to remove the corrosion buildup. After cleaning, apply a corrosion-resistant compound to the prongs to protect them from future corrosion. If the corrosion is extensive or the switch is damaged, consider replacing either the switch or the outlet to ensure safe and reliable operation. It is imperative to identify and address the underlying cause of the corrosion to prevent further damage and ensure the sump pump functions properly. To elaborate on each of these potential causes, let's start with water leakage. Water is a notorious conductor of electricity and an accelerant of corrosion. When water penetrates an electrical outlet or switch, it can create a pathway for galvanic corrosion, where one metal corrodes preferentially to another when they are in electrical contact in the presence of an electrolyte, which in this case is water. This process leads to the formation of corrosion products, including the green liquid often observed. To mitigate water leakage, thoroughly inspect the sump pump basin and its surroundings for any signs of water intrusion. Seal any cracks or openings in the basin or the surrounding floor using appropriate waterproofing materials. Ensure that the outlet and switch housing are properly sealed to prevent water from entering. Now let's delve into the role of condensation. Condensation occurs when warm, moist air comes into contact with cooler surfaces, causing water vapor to condense into liquid water. In the confined space of a sump pump basin, condensation can be particularly prevalent due to the humidity generated by the water being pumped. This condensation can then accumulate on the metal prongs of the float switch, leading to corrosion. To minimize condensation, consider improving ventilation in the sump pump area. This can be achieved by installing a small fan or vent to circulate air and reduce humidity levels. Additionally, insulating the sump pump basin can help to maintain a more consistent temperature and reduce the likelihood of condensation forming. Next, let's examine the phenomenon of electrolytic corrosion. Electrolytic corrosion, also known as galvanic corrosion, occurs when two dissimilar metals are in electrical contact in the presence of an electrolyte. In the case of a sump pump, the metal prongs of the float switch and the metal components of the outlet can form a galvanic couple if the sump pump is not properly grounded. This can lead to the corrosion of the more anodic metal in the couple. To prevent electrolytic corrosion, ensure that the sump pump is properly grounded according to electrical codes. This involves connecting the sump pump's grounding wire to a grounded electrical circuit. Proper grounding provides a low resistance path for stray electrical currents to flow, minimizing the potential for electrolytic corrosion. Let's now turn our attention to the possibility of an antifreeze leak. Antifreeze is commonly used in plumbing systems to prevent pipes from freezing during cold weather. However, if antifreeze leaks into the sump pump basin and comes into contact with the float switch, it can cause corrosion. Antifreeze contains ethylene glycol, a chemical compound that can react with metals and cause them to corrode. To prevent antifreeze-induced corrosion, avoid using antifreeze in the sump pump system. If antifreeze is necessary for other parts of the plumbing system, ensure that it is properly contained and cannot leak into the sump pump basin. Finally, let's consider the possibility that the green liquid is simply a form of green rust. Green rust is a corrosion product that forms on iron or steel surfaces in the presence of moisture and oxygen. It is a complex mixture of iron oxides, hydroxides, and chlorides. Green rust is often observed in marine environments or in situations where iron or steel is exposed to corrosive chemicals. To prevent green rust formation, protect the metal components of the float switch and outlet from moisture and corrosive chemicals. This can be achieved by applying a corrosion-resistant coating to the metal surfaces. In addition to these specific causes of corrosion, there are also some general factors that can contribute to the problem. Firstly, the quality of the metal used in the float switch and outlet can affect their susceptibility to corrosion. Inferior metals are more likely to corrode than high-quality metals. Secondly, the presence of corrosive chemicals in the sump pump basin can accelerate corrosion. These chemicals may come from cleaning products, fertilizers, or other sources. Thirdly, the frequency of sump pump operation can also play a role. Sump pumps that operate frequently are more likely to experience corrosion due to the increased exposure to moisture and corrosive chemicals. To summarize, the green liquid on the plug prongs of a sump pump's float switch is likely due to corrosion, which can be caused by water leakage, condensation, electrolytic corrosion, antifreeze leaks, or green rust formation. To prevent corrosion, take the following steps. Firstly, inspect the sump pump basin and its surroundings for any signs of water intrusion. Seal any cracks or openings in the basin or the surrounding floor using appropriate waterproofing materials. Secondly, improve ventilation in the sump pump area to reduce humidity levels. Consider installing a small fan or vent to circulate air. Thirdly, ensure that the sump pump is properly grounded according to electrical codes. Connect the sump pump's grounding wire to a grounded electrical circuit. Fourthly, avoid using antifreeze in the sump pump system. If antifreeze is necessary for other parts of the plumbing system, ensure that it is properly contained and cannot leak into the sump pump basin. Fifthly, protect the metal components of the float switch and outlet from moisture and corrosive chemicals. Apply a corrosion-resistant coating to the metal surfaces. Sixthly, use high-quality metal components in the float switch and outlet. Avoid using inferior metals that are more susceptible to corrosion. Seventhly, avoid using corrosive chemicals in the sump pump basin. If chemicals are necessary, use them sparingly and rinse the basin thoroughly afterwards. Eighthly, reduce the frequency of sump pump operation if possible. This can be achieved by improving drainage around the foundation of the building. By taking these steps, it is possible to prevent corrosion and ensure the proper functioning of the sump pump. When inspecting electrical components, always prioritize safety. Before handling any electrical equipment, disconnect the power supply to prevent electrical shock. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and eye protection, to safeguard against potential hazards. If you are not comfortable working with electrical equipment, consult a qualified electrician for assistance. The presence of corrosion on electrical components can indicate underlying problems that need to be addressed promptly. Ignoring corrosion can lead to further damage, electrical hazards, and reduced equipment lifespan. Regular inspection and maintenance of electrical systems are essential for ensuring safety and reliability. In addition to the causes and solutions discussed above, it is also important to consider the type of sump pump being used. There are two main types of sump pumps: pedestal pumps and submersible pumps. Pedestal pumps have the motor mounted above the sump pit, while submersible pumps have the motor submerged in the water. Submersible pumps are generally more resistant to corrosion than pedestal pumps because the motor is sealed and protected from moisture. However, submersible pumps are also more expensive and require more maintenance. When choosing a sump pump, consider the specific needs of your home and the environmental conditions in your area. If you live in an area with high humidity or frequent flooding, a submersible pump may be the better choice. If you live in a drier area, a pedestal pump may be sufficient. Regardless of the type of sump pump you choose, it is important to inspect it regularly for signs of corrosion and to take steps to prevent corrosion from occurring. One final point to consider is the warranty on the sump pump. Most sump pumps come with a warranty that covers defects in materials and workmanship. However, the warranty may not cover damage caused by corrosion. Be sure to read the warranty carefully before purchasing a sump pump to understand what is covered and what is not. If you have any questions about the warranty, contact the manufacturer of the sump pump. By understanding the causes of corrosion, taking steps to prevent corrosion, and choosing the right type of sump pump, it is possible to ensure that your sump pump operates safely and reliably for many years to come. Remember that electrical safety is paramount. If you're uncertain about any aspect of sump pump maintenance or electrical work, always consult a qualified electrician to avoid potential hazards. The information provided is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice.